What's up, guys? Federalist again. Hey, listen. I don't know about all you guys that do video blogging, but I've been getting a lot of unique responses from some of the posts that I've put up, not only from videos, but comments. I'm sure that, you guys who are out there, commenting on different videos and things like that, from time to time will get a reply to one of your posts that's argumentative, combative. Some are quite hostile. I started a little back and forth with a couple guys. I'm not going to name their names. It's not important, and if they see this, they'll know who they are. A guy, I was commenting on a post that another person had done involving Michelle Bachmann, who I consider to be a very conservative, patriotic Republican congressperson from Minnesota, and she was engaging Barney Frank, Financial Services Committee member from, I'm sure everybody who's listening to this rambling knows exactly who Barney Frank is. I don't think well of Mr. Frank. I know that surprises a lot of people, but I really I don't think that he's being honest. I think that when his political positions are very socialist. He's made no bones about the fact that he would love a single-payer system for health care. I think he's really made efforts to crash, like Fannie Mae, Freddie Mac, when there was talk on the Republicans' part about doing something about the lack of regulation, going toward these mortgages, and the mortgage-backed security market was going crazy. The Republicans wanted to do something about it and say there should be some oversight, because there's really not a lot of oversight. There's not a lot of regulation going on in this. And there was a big firestorm of debate, and Barney Frank kind of came out in front of that whole thing and said, hold it, everything's fine. I see no real evidence that anything is wrong at all. And to me, it just sounded like lawyer speak. That means, no, there's something wrong, I just don't see evidence of it. And evidence, what does evidence mean? What does this mean? That's how it sounded to me anyway. I'm sure you guys probably had the same take on it. But I had kind of put up, that is a patriotic woman right there. She's standing up for American freedom and our way of life. And in as much as I can define it, I'm not really a big fan of government intervention in anything. But if there is some government entity, which kind of in a strange way Fannie and Freddie were, they were giving governmental-backed mortgages, and that was always the aim, was to get people who couldn't afford homes because they had bad credit, no credit, what have you, limited income, questionable income. We're trying to get these people to become homeowners, and that was a Carter administration thing. I forget what it was called, the Fair Housing Act or some crazy thing. It was there, of course, it had one of these great, innocuous, wonderful sounding titles that, how could you oppose something like that? It's an on-purpose move, of course, we know this. But this guy kind of came back at me and said, oh yeah, she's a real patriot. She doesn't even like, people like me. I happen to notice that this person was a person of color, which from my previous videos, and anybody that knows me knows that I get along just fine with other cultures and other races. That has never really affected me. But I got into kind of a back and forth with this guy, and I just kind of wanted, the guy has a lot of these misconceptions that kind of just keep popping up the more and more people that I talk back and forth with. He wrote here, kind of trying to put it all in order, but he kind of came up with, I said, people need to become educated, take the public education that they're getting seriously, get something out of it, and strive and be motivated toward getting yourself a good job. At this point, let's face it, McDonald's. If you work full-time at McDonald's, you can have health insurance. And most of the time what you're really talking about is people that, largely uneducated people, taking jobs that just are not great jobs, and they're not getting health insurance because why? Because that would keep them from, they have to sacrifice something. And people don't want to sacrifice anything. they're kind of just more comfortable saying, well, if I could get that for free, that would open up a world of possibilities where I could get like better cell phones and better TV sets and whatever else. That's cool, but they fail to realize that somebody is paying for that. As a McDonald's employee, unless you're in the upper management tier, store manager, or just maybe an assistant manager or store manager, above that level, you're probably paying federal taxes, right? Unless you work a ton of hours, and you might not realize that somebody out there is paying for that. Even if you aren't, somebody is. And it feels free to you because it's free to you, but it's not free to everybody. And as a person that believes that you should pay your way, or at least do your damn best, that is disturbing to me. I've had to take a little bit of charity here and there. I've had times of despair in my life. It never seemed to end. You've got everything paid up, and then something happens, and then suddenly something else happens, and you're broke, and you got to climb back out of that, and you get a loan from the parents, whatever. Everybody's had one of these moments. It just happens. It's life. But it teaches us things, and it's important. These things that we learn because life teaches us a hard lesson, and we prepare for it the next time. A famous guy once said, a good man can give to his son all those things except those experiences that made him the good man. He's got to kind of learn those lessons for himself, and hopefully get to, arrive at the same outcomes and learn the same lessons. Very wise words, really. But the guy was kind of like, here, I'll read this. Most poor people did get a high school education. The public option is not socialist, and the CEOs have already proven that they don't care about people, only profit. And you say we to advocate responsibility when you are letting CEOs off the hook because you don't want to help some what you think are slackers. You have a responsibility to help this country and to keep it alive, not to give it to the corpse now. I get his point, despite grammatical incorrections there, grammatically incorrect typing there and sort of incoherence. I get his point. Okay, he thinks that we all have to pull together. Okay, we have pulled together. The people who haven't pulled together are the people that consistently, generationally, are on welfare. They are tearing the country down. You have people who are strictly consumers. All they do is take taxpayer money in ever increasing amounts, because everybody cries that the welfare just isn't enough these days, and they just continue to take and take and take more and take more and take more. It has failed. This socialism has failed. We have to stop. I'm sorry. At some point, you've got to stop. It's not working. People are feeling more and more offended every time they show up at the grocery store and some jackass with a link card, which is food stamps for those of you not in Illinois, and throws that on the table to buy like expensive food that you don't even have in your cart after working a 40 or 50-hour week. And then they go, with their coach purse and their leather jacket and then all this nice stuff out into their really nice car that you couldn't afford. I'm sorry, people are starting to get offended. And for those people out there who really do need the welfare because something crazy has happened in your life, I'm not here to beat you up, but I'm sorry. This has got to end. We have rampant fraud, abuse. I loved it the other night when Mr. Obama said so eloquently that we could raise $500 billion from cutting back on waste, fraud, and abuse. Then why the hell aren't you doing it now? How come? Really? You mean you've got $500 billion that you're overtaxing your people, but you're not going to find that unless it's going to be to help your program succeed, and really it will never go back to the people. It will simply fund a new federal engorged program. That sickens me.